Good evening friends, I am Jayaprakash Mittal and I will discuss with you class 11 statistics for economics chapter number 1 statistics. What is statistics, what is economics, what are the different definitions of economics we will discuss in this chapter. First we will discuss what is economics and what are the different definitions given by different economists and so on. Easy Economics with JP Sir. Hello students, I am Jayaprakash Mittal and I will discuss with you statistics for economics, first chapter, introduction to economics. First of all, we are very curious what is economics, what we are going to study in class 11 and then in our higher classes. Economics is the study of those actions of human beings which are concerned with the satisfaction of unlimited wants by utilizing limited resources. We know very well there are limited wants and limited resources which have alternative uses. How to satisfy unlimited wants with limited resources, that is the subject matter of economics. And different economists define economics in their own way. One economist, Barbara says, whenever 6 economists gather, there are 7 opinions. One economist says economics is unfinished science. And Jacob Wiener says economics is what economists do. And Marx says economics is what economists disagree about. Here, these are the different definitions, but basically economics is divided definition wise into four definitions are generally said. One is wealth related definition that is given by Adam Smith, who is said to be father of economics. Second by Alfred Marshall. The third one is Leon Robbins, and the fourth one is by growth oriented definition PAUL.A, Samuelson, and A.C. Das modern definition. We will discuss every definition one by one. You are able to see the first one you are seeing Adam Smith, who is said to be father of economics. It is his portrait because at that time there was no photography. His birth was in 1723 in Scotland, a small town, Kirkcaldy. His definition is given in 1776, that is related to wealth, so we call it wealth related definition. And he says economics is an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nation, and he emphasized the production and growth of wealth as the subject matter of economics. And second definition was given by Alfred Marshall in 1890, his famous book Principles of Economics, that is related to welfare. He says economics is a study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. It examines that part of individual and social action which is most closely connected with the attainment and with the use of material activities of well-being. Basically, he talks about material welfare. He emphasized material welfare, not non-material welfare. He doesn't talk about that. He was also criticized, and next definition was given by Leon Robbins in 1932 related to scarcity. And economics is science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ants and scarce means which have alternative uses. What I discussed in the beginning, wants are limited and resources are limited, have alternative uses. How to satisfy different wants with the limited resources. He was also criticized as saying that he emphasized on scarcity only. And next definition was given by PAUL.A. Samuelson. He is an American economist Nobel rate. He got Nobel Prize in 1970. He gave his definition in 1948. He says that is the most reliable definition. Economics is the study of how man and society choose, with or without the use of money, to employ the scarce productive resources which have alternative uses, to produce various commodities over time and distribute them for consumption now and in future among various people and groups of society. It analyzes the costs and benefits of improving pattern of resource allocation. What does it mean? He talks about how unlimited wants can be satisfied with limited resources, maximum number of wants, keeping in present and future without or with use of money. Basically what he does, he incorporates all the definitions of earlier economists and gives a new definition in the new era. And one more definition by AC Das in 2011, that is called modern definition. According to Professor AC, economics is the study of choice making by individuals, institutions, societies, nations and globe under conditions of scarcity and surplus towards maximizing benefits and satisfying their unlimited needs at present and future, because all economists are going to focus on only sustainable development nowadays. So these are the different definitions we see here. Definition of wealth related given in 1776. Then material welfare definition was given in, see here, if we do detail of wealth related, it takes into account only material goods, means it focuses on wealth only. It inquires the causes behind creation of wealth, how we can create more and more wealth. How it was criticized by different philosophers of that time. It considers economics as dismal or selfish science. It defines wealth in a very narrow and restricted sense, means he defined wealth in a narrow concept. It considers only material tangible goods. Doesn't consider intangible goods. Basically we'll have to see, he is going to define this concept in 1776. What we are going to see the world today, that was not there at that time. That's why the definition at that time was different. And a welfare related definition in 1890 we see it was given by Alfred Marshall, we have discussed. And the main point is, it is on one side a study of wealth and on the other side study of human welfare based on wealth. He focuses only human welfare through material goods. And what are the basic characteristics of this one? It is primarily the study of mankind. One side study of wealth, on the other side man. Sorry. It takes into account ordinary business of life. It is not concerned with social, religious or political aspects of human life. Means day-to-day life, what a business a person makes activities. But doesn't mean that every time he thinks about money creation only. That's why being a social animal, woman also performs social, religious and political activities also. It emphasizes on material welfare only. It doesn't take into account other welfare. It limits the scope to activities amenable to measurement in terms of money only. And it was also criticized by Professor Leon Robbins. It considers economics as a social science rather than a human science. It restricts the scope of economics to the study of persons living in organized community only. Those who are unorganized, those who are not part of social life, what about that? It doesn't clear. Welfare in itself has a wide meaning which is not made clear in this definition. And new definition was given by Leon Robbins, an essay on the nature and significance of economics in his famous book published in 1932. And he says economics is a science that studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. And one more definition by PAUL.A. Samuelson, and he got Nobel Prize in 1970, and he is an American economist. And economics, an introductory analysis his famous book published in 1948, he gave this definition and focuses on full utilization of resources and what we discussed. And then economics is science or an art. Economics is science as well as an art. Why it is called science? The question is, economics is science or an art? Basically, science can be divided into two. One is natural science, and another one is social science. Natural sciences like physics, biology, chemistry, where experiments can be conducted in the laboratory under controlled conditions. Relationships can be decided between cause and effect relationship. But where the social science is concerned, economics is social science because it is a systematic study of economic activities of human beings. Economics is science because it is a branch of knowledge where various facts have been systematically collected, classified, and analyzed. So that is called a science because it is a systematic study. It creates laws like science in the sense law of demand, law of supply, where price raises in demand decreases and vice versa, price increases, supply increases and vice versa. These are the laws which are based on experiments. This also creates cause and effect relationship. Price increase, demand decrease, why? It gives the answer of that one. That is the same case, and here laws can be verified. So economics is called science. Now the question is it positive science or normative science? It is a positive science because it talks about the real fact. What is? It is the study of what is and what was. So we call it positive science. And it is negative science, normative science. So please see it. We don't never say it positive and negative. We call it positive and normative science. It is normative science because it is the study of what ought to be. So that's why we call it normative science. Alfred Marshall and Pigou, such great economists, always advocate about it as a normative economics, normative science, where LIONEL ROBBINS advocates about positive science. So different economists have different opinions, so it is assumed, it is taken as positive as well as normative economics. We call it positive as well as normative economics. Positive economics because it is the objective or scientific attempt to describe and explain the behavior of the economy and its important variables. And normative, it is subjective. In case of positive, it is objective. Second one, it reflects and studies actual economic performance. Basically, what is it? Is positive science means what is, and normative science what ought to be. Being normative economic theory, it makes prescriptions what ought to be, what should be done in the economy. Third one, economics as a positive science is a basis for predicting how the economy will respond to changes in circumstances, and being a normative, it offers recommendations for changes in economic policy to achieve an optimal and desirable state of affairs. Then being a basically what's happening, this has its own size. So, and economics as a positive science free from subjective values, and normative science, it is based on personal value judgments. Then we can discuss in another way, little bit easier, like this. Positive economics is based on data and facts. Normative economics based on opinions and values. Positive economics descriptive. Normative economics is narrow. Being a positive economics, positive science, It explains cause and effect relationship between variables. It pass values conclusions. It doesn't talk about that. It is objective and positive. Normative economics is subjective. It asks actually what is and it ought to be. Statements can be tested and proved because that is cause and effect relation. Here statements cannot be tested. When we say it should be done, then how will we say that when it will happen, then we can test only now. That's why we can't test it. Where statements can be proved because this study is about the factual fact. Then we talk about the fact, naturally that can be tested. We can take the data and can check it and describe economic issues, and normative economics provides solution based on values. So this is what basically, and now we can conclude economics is both science as well as art. It is science in its methodology and art in its application. Study of unemployment is science, but framing stable policies for reducing extent of unemployment is an art. What does it mean? How much employment is there in the economy? That is what positive science. And how to solve it, how to remove unemployment, that is an art. So according to COSA, science requires the art and art requires science, each being complementary to other. So this is what basically the basics of to all economies are 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. We know all of us, and in this way this topic is finished. So guys,